Okay.
So I just go to Facebook and it'll.
Yeah, just go to the page, the Black Aaron broadcast page, and you'll see the thing, and then be weird because you'll hear like a little echoey guy. And okay, go there. Yep. So and oops, share. Right, share. There we go.
Man, I have terrible service here.
Yeah, it's like it's
T-Mobile's got to get a spot out here.
Yeah. Do you need the Wi-Fi?
Do you have the Wi-Fi?
It should just if the Toro guest or something.
Okay.
I think is the one you just.
I had no idea you guys were the Toros until I walked in right
now.
now.
We got Tommy.
Tommy the Toro?
Tommy the Toro. That's super corny. Super duper corny.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
Anything for spirit, man.
Yeah. Whatever works. Yeah. So as soon as you go ahead and share that, we already got Tanisha there. The wife, she's up. Wow, this is early. Jesus. Super early up. Wow. Yeah, as soon as you go ahead and do that, I'm gonna go and get in my music.
Do I have to I have to put in my email?
Yeah, it could be literally anything you could put in and it'll work. What is that? Mayo. Oh, good to go for next week. Got my guest for next week.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I'll schedule the other guy right after that. Yeah, I just got your text.
Perfect. Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all right, I'm excited. I got all kinds of questions for you.
Oh, nice. Black Aaron. Where is it?
Yeah.
Is it on your page? On your
it is on. You can just. It's probably better to go to the Black Aaron broadcast. I mean,
should I share it from your page?
You can. I'll just make it a. Yeah. Or it shouldn't matter. Yeah, you can share it from my page.
Okay, share. All right.
Okay.
I'm on.
Okay. So, are you ready, sir? I'm about to get it.
All right.
He's that funny young guy to talk to. Always seem to have a good talk. Always coming back around. Have a friend and have a come and chat and sit down with him. Have a drink and have a talk. Smoke a blunt and maybe it's whiskey. Think about the world at large. Cause Aaron Black sounds like Dave Chappelle. Sarah Black sounds like Dave Chappelle. Aaron Black sounds like Dave Chappelle. Sarah Black sounds like Dave Chappelle.
Fuck you, man. Welcome to episode 12 of the Black Aaron broadcast. Today's date is what is it? August 30th.
Yeah.
2018. It's another week, another Thursday. I have a wonderful guest. This guy's awesome. I'm gonna give him a wonderful intro. Okay. So he is a political critic and my favorite social media political commentator in my FB newsfeed. He's heavily involved with the All American Boys chorus. My property manager in Long Beach, low-key real estate guru, You reformatted the hell out of my pre-interview questions, which I thought was interesting.
Oh,
Never seen anybody do that before. He makes some of the best fish tacos in Orange County. His mom's oxtail soup recipe is legit AF, and he also believes tax is theft, and I agree with him. My friend, my buddy, Pierre Calderon.
wow, what an introduction. Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome, sir. Oh, I didn't even start the. That's okay. It's like the my little MP3.
Oh, the
streamer.
background.
Yeah, thing. Go
Mhm.
do that. Go do something. Okay, whatever. So I do have a ton of questions for you today.
Boom. Shoot.
But first, I will just say, how do you so eloquently maintain a balance between work and also triggering people online?
I have a
With
very
memes.
unique setup in that I work for my dad's company. It's a real
Yes.
estate company. We're a very small boutique office in Santa Ana.
Yeah.
And most of the day I'm there by myself.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few agents that go in and out and stuff, but I mean, most of the day it's just me, myself, and I in the office. And between doing stuff, I mean, let's face it. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be doing the work that needs to get done at the office. But I mean, there's a lot of downtime, especially because I'm not working necessarily with other people directly.
Yeah.
So a lot of time in that downtime, gives me a lot of time to read and to troll people on Facebook.
Excellent. Excellent. It's always good to troll people on Facebook. I like that you did, some of your memes are just like, it's like press this button or press that button.
Oh yeah.
And it's really just the same decision in different contexts. So people kind of pick on their bias, which one is more preferable to them.
And it's funny because I don't necessarily always believe like the stuff that I'm sharing.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to get certain reactions from people and see kind of the insight on what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is that they see. Like I shared one yesterday, and honestly, some of the responses I got, I wasn't even thinking about like, oh, that's how someone could perceive this political meme or whatever. But yeah it's interesting.
It definitely is. And I actually have a question. I'm gonna have a question for you shortly to check out your bias.
Okay,
bro. Your philosophy. See if it stays consistent.
Okay.
So what is the All American Boy Choir? Because I'm honestly, I think you guys like they sing, but I don't really know. Can you like tell me what that is?
Yeah, the All American Boys Chorus is I think Southern California's only boy choir.
Okay.
And I think it might be like honestly like California's only boy choir. I'm not 100% on that. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was founded in the 1970s. I joined the program in 2000.
Yeah.
And my cousin saw them at the Orange County Fair, I think.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, these guys sing. And she always knew that I was really interested in performing and the arts and stuff like that. So she recommended it. And I auditioned, or no, I called to audition, but initially I didn't. They were like, oh, you're too old. Because I think I was like 11 at the time.
Okay.
And because, you got to train them at a certain age. So, they can be ready by a certain age.
Yeah.
And so I think they said I was too old. And then like a year later, I get a call and they're like, hey, actually, we need boys. So are you still interested? And so I went down and I did. And kind of the rest has been history. So
you're kind of like I don't know, like you take them on the trips to go.
Yeah.
Places?
So, I mean, obviously I was in the program as a boy for about 3 years. And then I had nothing to do with the program. A lot of guys who become staff members, they'll start singing or they'll start helping out and volunteering right away. I was very busy with high school. And so I really didn't have time to do any kind of volunteer work after I graduated the chorus. But then when I graduated high school, it just so happened I ended up going back for some reason. And I kind of got hired on the spot kind of deal. And I started doing marketing for them. And since then, I've done a bunch of different stuff for them. So right now, my current position is kind of just like production staff.
Okay.
And then for our tours, right now I go as the production manager.
Okay, because you just got back from Japan, right?
No, we went to China.
China, sorry. I'm mixing up my Asian countries.
No, that's right. Yeah, we just got back from China. We were out there for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And, we go to Asia about every 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And we do a tour out there that's usually about 3-4 weeks. And this was another great tour. So yeah, it was really awesome.
Did you get some good Chinese food, like actual authentic?
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
It's a whole nother world.
Yeah,
it's not. It ain't none of this.
No. It's very good.
Mr. Chow's.
Yeah. Hong Kong Express kind of deal.
Yeah, it's a whole nother deal.
No, it's very, very good food.
That's awesome,
and
man.
The people are just
people in usually a lot of countries are pretty nice, but I definitely, because I spent some time in Japan and people were really really nice. And like even the service, like when you go to restaurants, is just incredible.
Top notch.
Here it's straight trash. Trash bars. Let's see here. And you're are you from Ecuador or are you just Ecuadorian?
So my dad's Ecuadorian, and my mom's Mexican.
Oh, okay. Get a little cross pollination there. All right, good to go. And what's what's Ecuador like? I've never been there.
Ecuador is absolutely, a lot of people don't know this, but Galapagos, the islands, belong to Ecuador. Yeah,
what?
So it's Ecuador.
I had no idea. So now I know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So Ecuador is, it's an absolutely beautiful country. It's a small country. Between Peru and Ecuador, they had some civil war, like a couple decades. I want to say it's like in the 50s or 60s. Don't quote me on that. I don't know my Ecuadorian history that much. But I know they had a civil war, so the size of the country actually is much smaller than it was, like 100 years ago. Yeah. But it's still very beautiful. You get a little bit of everything. You get it's part of the Amazon jungle is there. In the Sierras, where my dad's from, Quito. It's a very nice, cool temperature, pretty much year round. And then as you go down, obviously you get into the jungle area, and then the beaches are just beautiful out there. Great water.
Wow. I've only seen like one thing. I think it was like Anthony Bourdain. He was like eating somewhere, and then he went over there, like took a boat, and it just looked magical.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful country.
Yeah, I'd love to get over there.
Yeah, lots of volcanoes. They have a lot of active volcanoes.
Oh yeah.
And so you kind of go through these little valleys that have just been, formed by these volcanoes, and it's just absolutely
because it just like melts. It's all hot, and then it just like makes, when it dries, it gets like makes new land and crap.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely beautiful.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Got to get over to the Galapagos. So what are some of your earliest memories of music? I'm curious.
My dad is a singer-songwriter.
I was going to ask that too. Any family members, artists?
My dad,
okay.
Yeah. And
I didn't know that.
In fact, funny story. I think for my sister's birth, he had booked studio time.
Damn.
So he was in the studio the night I think my sister was born.
Oh,
I don't know how happy my mom was.
I'm sure your mom was thrilled about that. Yeah.
So he's always had a lot of his friends thought he was going to go on to be like a singer-songwriter kind of deal. His brother, my uncle, performed with a lot of big guys back in like the day of their music, down in Ecuador, and in that just Spanish romantic music in general.
Romantic music. Are they more romantic than is it Cuba? I heard they're pretty.
I think just Latin in general
music
is very romantic in general, but specifically there's like a genre in a time that I'm speaking. It's
like an era of,
right, kind of like time. You would say like the standards here, like the big band standards, stuff like that. So there's like a time and a period for that. So a lot of times when the trios were going on and stuff like that, like Trio Los Panchos or Los Dandies, things like that.
I don't know about any of that stuff.
Yeah,
but hey, sounds good.
My dad kind of exposed me to, and my parents in general exposed me to a huge array of Latin music growing up. And that was kind of, I'm first and foremost a Spanish speaker. That's how that was my first language. I didn't learn English until I started going to school here. So,
just hit the ground running.
Yeah, so most of my exposure early on was almost all Spanish. My first musical idol was Juan Gabriel. And Juan Gabriel is, I like to say that Elton John is the Juan Gabriel of, like the English world, right? Yeah. Because to me, I knew Juan Gabriel first, and it's just as flamboyant, but incredible songwriter. Anybody who was anybody during the day did songs with
that guy.
With Juan Gabriel. His songs are time. Yeah, Juan Gabriel, and Juanga, as he's is kind of his nickname. But so that was early on, and then as just kind of time goes by, you listen to your parents listening to. There was a lot of oldies.
Yes.
And again, it was really when two of my earliest exposure to American music besides my parents listening to like oldies and stuff like that,
Yeah.
was I had a teacher in the 4th grade. Her name is Mrs. Holzman, and she was very much. She's from New York.
Yeah.
And she loved musical theater. And so I think I was like, however old you are in the 4th grade, when I was first exposed to The Music Man and early Julie Garland kind of stuff and stuff. So that was when I heard that kind of stuff. Those soundtracks to me were just, I was blown away. And then when I joined the All American Boys Chorus, we just sing a bunch of different Americana stuff, all kinds of jazz, barbershop stuff. And I remember I listened to Duke Ellington's "Take the A Train."
Okay.
And that's when I started, like, that was my first, like, I'm in love with this kind of music. And so
that's what's up.
Duke Ellington, I think, was the first kind of person I discovered sort of on my own that I was just like, this guy's incredible.
This guy's tight.
And that kind of has led up to my long life, like, love affair with jazz and early jazz and big band and all that. So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So you're definitely a music fan. Because, I have interviewed a lot of people from my program here, which is like an audio recording program. So they're definitely into music, but I'm kind of branching out now. That's why I wanted to have you on, ask you a little bit about music, but also, some politics stuff. I love to hear your opinion on things. Looks like we, somebody said that Pierre Calderon guy is nothing but trouble. Mr.
Shout out to Ben.
It's too late now.
Yep.
It's too late now, Ben. So let's see. So if I were to ask you, what is libertarianism? What is that?
Libertarianism, I think, and again,
what does it mean to you, man?
What does it mean to me? I think it's just striking a balance between social and kind of economic and political. I mean, I just feel like libertarians tend to want less intrusion from the government. There are some that are I'll fly out, are on the borderline of being anarchists, and I don't think I'm there. I don't fully think, I mean, in theory, sure, taxation is theft, I think they are necessary, though. I think I'm not one of those libertarians that doesn't think that, any taxes are just the worst and stuff like that, right? But certainly I think finding a reason and then backing that up, I think, with hard and proven evidence, and I think that comes down to, I wouldn't say, I think one of my biggest influencers as far as the political sphere is concerned is Dr. Thomas Sowell. And I think his whole thing is, listen, let's try this, but if it's not working, we got to remove it. We got to change it. There's no sense in keeping on, doing something that's not working or it's not as effective as it was, programmed to be. The mere fact that, let's say, a social program is working to help a small minority or a small group of people versus the overall negative effect it might have. Well, that's not enough to say this program's working, right? Because if the intended target was for it to work on a much larger scale and it's not performing like that, then obviously it's not working. Even if it is, even if some people are benefiting. And I'm definitely not one of those people that's like, well, if anybody's benefiting from this program, then we should keep doing it, which is, it doesn't make any sense to do that. You got to find a way to that. And I'm a big believer that people who, if something is needed in society, the free market's going to provide for it. And if it's not, if it's something that kind of the government's kind of ramming down our throats, then there wouldn't be a need for it otherwise. So why keep on keeping on if it's not?
If it's not,
these are just very generic concepts, obviously. I mean, if you could apply them to an array of things, but it's sort of just the general idea behind it all.
When I think of it, I think of just kind of, I guess, less government, more people kind of make their own decisions without
negative effectively, like their neighbor.
You got property rights and all that that good stuff. Oh, that's the question I wanted to ask you about. So there was I follow this group on Facebook. It's called Socrates Memes, and he poses all these questions. He'll ask one first and see how people respond to that. Then we'll ask another one that is kind of within the same context, but people to kind of see if people's their philosophy on stuff is kind of
Consistent.
concrete and
Yeah.
consistent. So the first question, I don't have the exact thing, but it's like, is it permissible to destroy, property if, say you don't agree? Is it ever like permissible under any circumstances to destroy the property of another person?
I mean, are you talking about like physically like damage?
Yeah,
the property?
physically destroying, damaging the property.
I mean, I can think of an example, for instance, like a fire truck.
But these are yes or no on his thing. You can explain, obviously,
Okay,
but
yeah.
they're like kind of yes or no questions. But go ahead.
I mean, sure. The short answer is going to be yes.
It is permissible.
I think there's going to be yes.
Okay, and then the follow-up one he asked was like, was it permissible like during the Boston Tea Party for like those people to throw the tea, in the water and stuff? And so of course a lot of people said no, like a ton of people said no, it's not permissible. But then everyone was like yes on the Boston Tea Party. So like it's kind of contradicting, like, you know what I mean? Because you look back, in hindsight's 2020, it's like, okay, well, obviously they had to, revolt against like the oppressive, like, the colonies had to revolt against like the English or whatever, royalty, and, throw the tea in there and the taxation and all that.
Right.
But so looking back, it's great. But then that was like super dangerous, and like it was just, that was kind of against the government power.
So did I pass? Did I?
Yeah, I think you're pretty consistent. Yeah, so that's good, man. That's good. But it's funny because you see because we'll like post the second one showing like the disparity like between people's answers and be like, so someone want to clear this up for me?
Yeah.
And people start like, but it's cool because there's a lot of discussion that goes on in that.
Right.
Legitimate discussion that goes in that.
Well, the example that I thought of when you mentioned that, the first thing that I thought of was, say that there is a fire in a building and some, moron parked right in front of the fire hydrant, right?
Oh.
If they need to crash through the window of that person's car, to get to the thing, right? Because it's for the greater good, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you're going to lose some libertarians. Who are like, well, the greater good of, now you're talking like a socialist, but it's like no, you have to think. There's going to be things that are just make sense, and you're going to have to do it. So I mean, the Boston Tea Party, it was necessary to destroy that to send a message.
Yeah. That was good. You did well. You passed the test.
Well, thank you. Woo.
Oh, Pierre is my hero, says Randall.
Oh, Randall's the best. Randall's the best.
Let's see. First I want to say, who would win a fist fight between Rand and Ron Paul?
Ooh. I mean, obviously, right now the physical advantage is going to go to Rand.
Younger.
The physical advantage is going to go to Rand. Because even a couple years ago when he was in that Borat or the Sacha Cohen Bear film.
Was he in that?
Ron Paul was.
Oh, really? Yeah, just asking him questions.
Yeah, but even then he just looked super fragile.
Yeah,
and that was like 10 years ago, I think. So
yeah.
I think right now the advantage is going to go to the physical advantage is going to go to Rand. Yeah.
How did you first hear about either Rand or Ron, or I guess they're kind of a duo? Just they do their completely own different things. You never see them really together.
No. And I think Rand is he's more of a traditional Republican. If we were to go back, maybe like 20 years in that political spectrum, because I think now everyone's just so polarized. But I think Rand tends to stay fairly centered. Obviously, he's very much a Christian, and I think sometimes that affects his policy. And I think that's why not everyone will always say that he's a libertarian, but he certainly is trying to follow, I think, in his dad's footsteps. And I mean, certainly his dad's a great teacher. So
that's what's up, man.
And I know it must have been around the second election, the second Obama election.
Yeah,
I think it was around the time that I kind of started really getting into not just bashing, like I think the left, but trying to find an alternative to that. And I just thought a lot of his points was, I mean, some of this stuff is kooky. I'm not oblivious to that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of stuff does make sense, and it's a lot more centered. And I appreciate a much more centered view than a polarized view. I think so.
Yeah, you got to have balance. Let's see here. What if you were to make a few suggestions, as far as politics to, so things maybe ran a little smoother.
Mhm.
I'm curious, what kind of things would you change? Whether, like me personally, I'd say like maybe, cut off like private funding to, political campaigns, or even, God, I forgot the other one was, there was another one I couldn't remember. Oh, like Congress, like the set, like shorter terms,
Right, term
and
limits.
term limits for Congress and
Yeah.
stuff. What are some stuff that you would?
I mean, term limits is definitely a
Yeah.
huge start, right?
Yeah.
I just think, these career politicians,
Mm-hmm.
they don't do anybody a service, because all it becomes is getting elected and then getting reelected,
Yeah.
and then getting reelected, and in between everything gets kind of lost, and whatever vision they might have started with
Yeah.
gets lost because the focus isn't there,
Yeah.
and that's why, I mean, throughout time you also see a president does more usually good,
Yeah.
net good in their second term, right, than their first term, because the first term is more about appeasing
Mm-hmm.
the nation and trying to get that second term, and then the second term is kind of when they go in and they do work, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I mean, term limits I think would be a huge start. I don't know why we don't have term limits
I
at
don't
this
know either.
point, but yeah, certainly term limits would go a long way. And then just our legislator. I mean, it doesn't even have to be on that big a scale. I think just on a small local scale, just asking our legislators to really think about the consequences of whatever it is that they're trying to pass. For instance, like this new straw ban, right?
I heard about that, but I was trying to avoid that. I was like, straws. It's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, these people are pushing for the ban on straws, and I mean, you have to look at perspective, right? I think the U.S., one of the last charts I looked at, only contributes to like pollution or like world pollution, something like we're like 3 or 5% of like all pollutants. So like even the fact that we were like one of the leading countries in the Paris climate agreement, it didn't make any sense, because we're already doing a lot, and especially states like California are already doing so much, and to like penalize like a server, like think about that. You have, in order to ban straws, right now. So right now, if they hand out straws, at least that was the last proposal that I had read, was that the server was going to get fined, not the restaurant.
Are you
I think
serious?
The server was going to get fined.
Oh my
and
God.
was facing possible jail time. So at that point,
What?
you had to be okay with jailing somebody
Oh, Lord.
for over straws, over literal straws. And that just makes sense, especially since the left is usually the ones pushing for prison reform, and creating more. Anytime you create a law, you're creating more criminals, right? You're creating another opportunity for someone to violate that law, thus becoming a criminal.
Yeah.
And while the first, the go-to isn't necessarily jail time,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be a fine of some sort. But if you can't pay that fine, and let's face it, it's the people at the bottom who usually can't pay that fine.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are going to be most negatively affected, because they're not going to have the means to pay that fine, and then the late fees and all that, which racks up, and now they have a warrant out for the rest because they haven't paid these tickets and stuff. So they're the ones that are most negatively affected.
Yeah.
And it just really doesn't. Stupid. So I think just more foresight, and really like, am I willing to send someone to jail over straws? I mean, that's as simple as it gets.
Oh man, that's so dumb. I didn't see. That's why I stayed away from it, man. Because when I saw they were talking about straws, I was like, bruh, straws? Why are we talking about straws?
Yeah.
Like, really? Come on. We're gonna make that change. We're gonna make what change are we gonna make by straws?
Okay, and I'll give you, and I'll share you more balance, which is probably not gonna resonate well with libertarians that are listening in right now. This whole plastic bag ban, right? God. From the superstores or whatever, that they can't give them out for free.
I read that on the ballot. Like, I read the pro and the like, who was trying to say yes, who that was the most confusing, convoluted, like,
but it passed, right?
Okay,
so now
really weird.
In California, you like grocery stores, which is funny because like you can still go to Home Depot and get like 20
What's
bags
up, Gabe? But go ahead.
So you can still get if you go to Home Depot, like 20 basically grocery bags if you want and stuff like that. So this was only, I think, for the grocery stores and maybe some other like boutique stores. Or
Yeah, well,
something like
mostly grocery stores. They're the
that. Well,
ones that
mostly
hand out
grocery stores, right?
plastic bags.
Yeah,
Well, restaurants hand out plastic bags.
yeah, but I don't think they were part of this.
They're not
bill.
part of
No,
it.
it was specifically targeting grocery.
They're just trying
right.
to, what are they trying to do?
And so now you have to pay like the 10 cents or whatever.
Yeah, you
for
pay
the-
10 cents. Sometimes we
Right.
get them, sometimes we don't. I don't
Now,
know.
I see. This is one of those things where I don't think there was anything like, "Oh, you're going to go to jail," like, right? If you don't do this. But I think somehow they force the stores to do all this. And in the great spectrum of things that like to be upset about, not getting double bag on your, on your tomato soup cans or whatever, and you get a much thicker bag. Now it's 10 cents. Oh well,
Yeah.
it's like you're paying 10 cents for a bag. It sucks, but I mean, everyone's over it now. No one's complaining about this new thing. And sure, I mean, I think the net good, yeah, if it's gonna mean less grocery bags and thing. Now again, this is one of those things where like I'm not gonna really get upset over this because I don't see anybody going to jail for giving out plastic bags or whatever. And I'll take this win. It is gonna produce less bags. I mean, I'm not a climate change denier. Like I think a lot of people on the right or who tend to be a little right of center are. I think that clearly you don't have to, just by opening your eyes, you can go to our beaches, you can go anywhere and just see how much trash there is. And then when you go to, if you go to other countries, you really see it like, wow, there is a lot of trash out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely need to clean up our mess.
Mm-hmm.
So anything we can do in our own lives to kind of help
on the smaller scale, if everyone
scale
would
down,
do
right?
their
And
part.
so if this plastic bag thing is going to be significant, enough, sure. But I think that the plastic straw specifically, like they were saying, like, oh, it's going to save all, and it's like plastic straws on top of the fact that we don't pollute that much as a country as a whole. The plastic straws specifically account for even a smaller, like minute percentage of that, whereas plastic bags is a significant, right?
It's
a significant. But yeah, I mean, you gotta pick your battles, and there's certain things that I'm not gonna be, get super upset over. But I think more than anything is when they're punishing people for freedoms that like I just got back from China.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in China rides around in their mopeds, right?
Yes.
And they got these electric, that's the other thing. They have a lot of electric mopeds in all these major cities.
Yes.
They're allowed to go on the sidewalk. Police aren't like, oh, you're not allowed to drive on the sidewalk. And this is China, right?
Yeah.
And then I found out you don't need a license to get these things.
Yeah.
Right. And then I found out you don't even need to pay registration on these things.
Oh, cool.
So and then because there's so many and there's such a high competition for these little electric scooters, the girl was telling me she can buy one for like $150 US.
Yeah.
$100. Electric bikes here, I think I was looking at one yesterday, $3,000. Right, because of all the regulations that are involved.
They gotta account that into the price.
You know what I mean?
Selling it,
Yeah.
Plus all whatever regulation fees they gotta pay.
And this is China,
operate,
right? In other arenas, it's doing terribly. When it comes to freedom of speech and stuff like that. But I mean, something as simple as this is, just moving around freely in your own city without having to worry about, oh, you can't go on the sidewalk because you're going to get a ticket if you're riding an electric scooter.
They're trying to clamp down on some of these. I think it's little scooters and stuff. And I think San Francisco or something. It might be. They're
the
weird.
free ride economy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the share ride economy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know about these guys. I don't really mess with the government too much. They're crazy, bro. They're doing wild stuff.
Yeah.
Just the more I read, the more I learn, and just the more I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I did want to. I don't know. I kind of want to ask you about food real quick. Man.
Yeah.
What? Because I see sometimes you posted something the other day. It was like somebody was making some, I don't know, some type of pork.
Yeah.
And it was just like the way it was cooking. Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, no, I follow. She's a friend, a mutual friend acquaintance or whatever on Facebook that I met back in my band playing days or whatever. And
Rockstar days.
Yeah, sure. and she shares these incredible food stuff, and I'm a big fan of cooking meat. It's kind of in the last couple of years I've developed a few hobbies. One of them is cooking meat. Right now I'm looking into like brewing beer and stuff like that. So I'm setting up my whole garage to be like a little brewery.
I'll drink some of that beer.
Oh heck yeah, dude.
I'll have a dabble.
So yeah, I got really into cooking meat, and so yeah, as far as meats are concerned, like I'm always sharing stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but one of my favorite pork things like that I was looking up a while ago was the porchetta or the porchetta, whatever it's called. But it's basically just like the belly of the pig.
Yeah.
And then in Italy, it's a thing. You know, they put a bunch of different spices. One of the key ingredients being fennel pollen, and then just a bunch of other stuff, kind of to taste.
Fennel pollen,
not fennel seed, not ground up fennel seed. It's fennel pollen. And I guess
Interesting.
in Italy, it's very big because they have like the right growing conditions. But the only other place on earth where it's just as perfect is here in California. So
we do grow a lot,
but it
of
is
stuff.
very expensive. Like this stuff is like up there with like
Saffron.
saffron. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Fennel pollen.
Fennel pollen.
I never
Yeah.
would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite Ecuadorian foods or any plates or any Mexican?
Yeah,
ones,
so
like your mom makes or anything?
my mom's learned a lot of Ecuadorian dishes because of and she's a great cook, but so she learned from my dad's side of the family.
Still trying to taste some of your mom's food, bro.
Oh yeah.
I had the tacos at one time.
Well, and I when next time she makes oxtail, I'll invite you over.
Yes.
And but yeah, she's an incredible cook. And she's learned how to make the ceviche from Ecuador is very different from Mexico. So Mexico traditionally it's like the shrimp cooks in the lemon juice.
Yes.
In Ecuador the shrimp kind of cooks like the way you would just kind of boil shrimp and cook them. And then it involves lots of ketchup and all this other stuff.
Really?
And it's my favorite ceviche, and it's incredible.
I'll have to try that.
And they serve it traditionally with popcorn. So if you go to the beach,
popcorn,
yeah, they serve it with what they call it canguil.
Canguil.
So it's popcorn out. In,
Yes.
In the beach, this is like a beach area.
Yes.
Dish and also the little like plantain chips. That's what's
I
traditional.
love plantains.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to Habana in Costa Mesa?
Yes.
And have you gone to the Sunday brunch?
I haven't, but their flan is incredible.
I think I had their flan once when I got out of graduated like the junior college. I transferred over here, and I think we got like it might have been I graduated. It might have been my birthday too. I don't know, but yeah, I think me and Tanisha we shared like a flan there. I think it was good.
I love their flan. It's so good. Yeah.
I like I don't know if they still have it. I think they do. They just never have the egg whites. It's pisco sour. They do a regular one, and then they do like a lavender one. Dude,
I love anything lavender.
I don't even like a lot of mixed drinks. I just drink just give me straight vodka or I don't know, bourbon or whiskey or whatever with ice cube. But they're it's just it's like egg whites. It's like just like lemon juice with like some probably simple syrup or something, whatever the alcohol.
Right.
Pisco sour. Pisco, which is like some type of Latin American, I don't know,
liqueur.
Yeah. It's like it's clear like rum, but it's not rum. It's something else.
Yeah, I mean it's probably made from either like the sugar cane or the rice or whatever.
Something.
Always one of those.
Oh, so good. I'm getting hungry, I think. Oh man. So let's see here. We talked a little about food. I do want to ask. I'm kind of curious about this because I do obviously have a lot of kind of political oriented questions. So when people talk about, when they talk about like gun stuff, gun regulation or whatever, and obviously I think we just had another shooting. In Florida.
It was at the gaming convention.
At the gaming thing, whatever that was about. I checked in. Any of my friends in Florida, they checked in as safe, and I asked one, and he's like, yeah. He's like, and then he even said he messaged me. Because I messaged him. He's like, thanks for checking in on me, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, and then he said something like, there was a football game, and there was like some shooting thing that wasn't something I didn't even hear about over there. It's just like, there's too much of this stuff, but they're always like. I'm surprised people never talk about because they're always talking about the government's coming for my guns, and then I guess that's kind of like I don't want to paint with broad brush like the right
it's
talking about
right. Yeah.
And the left is like we they kind of talk about like they want like I guess gun change, like some gun reform, and they want like them to stop them like AR-15s and stuff.
Right.
And I always think no one ever. I feel like something that should constantly come up is like the Mulford Act thing. And I looked it up a little last night just to make sure I had the date right. And it was just like something. It was passed in like 1967. I guess after, I guess the Black Panthers. After something happened, they went there with their guns and just like to kind of like as some type of political protest. And that was when it was still open carry in California.
Right. Okay.
But like immediately after that. They passed that, and then there was no more open carry of guns, and no one ever talks. I just think it's funny that no one ever talks about like how quick, okay, they did it then. And I think it was like pro NRA was kind of pro then. And I guess their agenda little changed over time.
Right. I mean,
But-
I think everything becomes more polarized as time has kind of gone on.
But I just think it's funny that no one ever brings it up. Like, why was it super like that
Done fast then?
Because everybody talks about, oh, California, man, it's going down the crapper, all this regulation, and I hate Jerry Brown, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Things are changing, things are weird, but like apparently, California at one point was really open about gun carry. You could just, you know what I mean? It wasn't illegal. Like the cops are there, and they just had their guns out, and
right.
And
well,
then
I think
that,
as time has gone on, you become more fearful because of the things that you witness and hear and stuff like that. And I think that definitely plays into law enforcement as well. The more horror stories they see or hear or experience themselves, the more weird they are, and that, I mean, quote unquote happy trigger they become.
yeah.
And I think that certainly goes for people as well. I mean, that's not going to change just because you're wearing a badge or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think certainly back in the day, confrontations with a pistol were more a regular thing.
Yeah.
And there wasn't necessarily the fear like, oh, someone's going to start shooting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just as time goes on, it's like that fear kind of escalates it. Like, and I think, and I sure, and maybe it's for the better that we don't have open carry.
Well, now probably.
Yeah,
people are getting crazy without gun, like doing wild stuff. So,
right. And again, I'm going to get slaughtered by some of my libertarian and gun rights activists. So, maybe it's better that we don't have an open carry system right now, and that it does take. I have a few friends that have carry concealed licenses. Here in California, and it was a very rigorous, very tough thing for them to go through.
Pretty,
but I think that they're better gun owners for that. And the fact that if someone wants to carry in the state right now and they have to have the CCW, the fact that they have to go through all those things, I think makes them a much more responsible gun owner. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with increasing accountability and responsibility. I just think that in general, right after the aftermath of these things, it's like, oh well, guns are the issue again, and blah blah blah. When it's it's more of a societal thing. I think it's just this is a reaction we're having to the amount of pressures society places on individuals. Everything from taxes and legislation to I feel like people become more isolated now. They're not as much into the community.
As social pressure.
So it's obviously
isolated.
just a bunch of different things that contribute to these kind of things happening, and it's really sad. And I don't think. And this is I have had discussion with other people regarding other topics, but I don't think anybody I think everybody who's in the political arena or is heavily involved in politics, whether it's just as a troll commentator like myself, or actually doing something, because I'm not doing anything. There's people out there actually doing something. I don't think the intention is ever to make society worse. I think everybody has the same end goal, which is how do we improve society? How do we make ourselves better? How do we make everybody else better? I think how the road to get there, how we achieve that, that's where the conflict comes in. Everyone has different ideas on how we get there, and that's really where the conflict is. I think there are very few people out there who want to make society worse off. I think we all have the same goal, which is to live in a better society, whatever that means. And it's just how we get there that differs, and that's where the conflict is. And I wish people would see that the end goal is the same. How we get there is going to be different, but we should still try to work to come together and find some middle ground.
That was a question I had talking about society. Oh, we have a Leah Girthy Casaro says Pierre has a lot of common sense views.
Thank you, Leah.
I was gonna ask, like, if you were to make some suggestions about how we can, I guess, have a better, like, a more cohesive and non-isolated communicating, I don't know, community, society. What would be some suggestions you would make, I guess?
All the suggestions have to do with taking personal responsibility, right?
Okay.
Because I don't want a government to come in and tell you what it is that you need to do, but it's kind of coming to the realization that you're the one that has to make these little changes on a daily basis, and it's from everything. It's even just our shopping habits, right?
Yeah.
Why is Amazon putting mid-size and large retailers out of business?
Yeah.
Why? Because of our shopping habits.
Mm-hmm.
We'd rather save. I have a buddy, and I don't know, Steve. Shout out, buddy. I know he's not. I'm talking about him, but we literally. I have gone to the store with him, and I'll be like, "Oh, perfect, I got this." He goes, "You should check on Amazon because you can get it for like $1 cheaper on Amazon or something like that." I'm like, Steve, I'm not gonna worry over a dollar or even like $5 just because I can get it slightly cheaper on Amazon. I'm supporting a local business. These are jobs that are right here. And I mean, I'm not going to get into the theory of all that right then and there with him, but it's just using these habits on a daily basis and kind of living the society that you want to live. I want to support local businesses. I'm going to shop local businesses.
Yeah.
All these little things that are going to keep these small mom and pop shops in business that you got to kind of actively think about. And again, it's just, I don't believe in a lot of the environmental legislation that that they try to push on people, like this whole straw ban thing. But make that change yourself. Try to use less plastic in your daily life. Try to use less one use type of things, right?
Yeah.
Wash your fork. It's all these things. I know somebody hates washing dishes, will never wash dishes. They always buy disposable plates, all that stuff. It's like, you can wash a dish, it's going to save paper in the long run, all these. So just making these little changes ourselves without having somebody do that for us.
Yeah.
And then investing in your community, actively investing. That's why I love working for the chorus, because I feel like I am doing something and not just, worrying about me and all the time. And I do feel like I make some sort of difference with working with the All American Boys Chorus. And so just being involved in your communities and
I think that's crucially important, especially the part about where you spend your money.
Yeah,
because like if you were to, if you were to spend your money differently, you can defund some of these these companies completely.
Someone was ragging on Bezos the other day, and I'm not saying he's a great person to look up to as far as being a responsible business owner. Certainly I think there's much better people that fit the kind of like the CEO of Costco right now, a great person to kind of want to embody. And Jeff Bezos is nothing like that, but they keep feeding into this. They sign up for the Amazon Prime because it's free shipping, and then they're even buying groceries there now instead of going to your local farmers market. So it's just like all these.
Don't be surprised when them grocery stores start disappearing.
You know what I mean? There's already 3 that disappeared in Tustin.
Oh,
and
really?
Now the Orchard hardware supply is going out of business.
I did see that on the
Lowe's bought them, I guess, like 5 years ago, but I guess they're finally closing them down. And I'm sure that has to do with not just obviously the power that Lowe's is now a major competitor for Home Depot, and I'm sure they want to focus on that too. But also this whole online thing, you can buy anything online now, and it takes away from the people that are doing it on a local, small scale level, and it's unfortunate.
So everyone who wasn't devastated by Walmart, that's a small business in the community,
now you're getting affected by Amazon.
Amazon will take you out. Yeah, that's crazy.
E-commerce is really going and hitting these little guys hard. Some people are benefiting on this ride, but there's a lot of people that aren't. And I think you were talking about on the last podcast, kind of like technology. And
what do you think contributes more to human progress, like technological advancements or music,
right
music or something?
And I just thought that was an interesting question, because I feel like there comes to a point where it's not progress, it almost becomes harmful in a way to our to the, at least to the civilization at that point in time, right? How technology is affecting.
Because I guess
what is
like
that
the point,
the curve, the point on that curve where it's the benefits of the point of the return on the benefits or whatever.
They outweigh.
They're negatively outweighing.
The bad outweigh.
It
starts outweighing the good, depending on
But of course, you can make the argument, right? If everyone was pissed about cars in the beginning because they were talking about how,
the horse economy.
Yeah, the horse economy, and then the trains or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, now we fast forward, and obviously cars was one of the greatest inventions. So again, it always takes time to really see what the net good of any kind of technology is. I don't see the net good right now. I'm sure in some future we will. But, with any new industry, there's also an opportunity to make money and create wealth for yourself, And I just like having that entrepreneurial optimism about it. So, maybe we're going to lose out on some jobs here and there. But, I mean, in the meantime, people are suffering. And I think that's, if you want to actively make a difference right now, it's about shopping local, supporting your local businesses right now.
It definitely is. I used to go to like a little, it was like a little Mexican type mart thing that they had like they had like kind of a butcher there and some vegetables. And I used to like to go there.
Yeah.
Just because it was closer and stuff. And it had a lot of the stuff I need as far as like making meals.
Right.
But I mean, I don't live next to, I don't think the closest thing now is just the Stater Brothers and Ralph's and whatever.
Yeah, I'm really sad they just closed down in Tustin, Ansar Market, which was like a Middle Eastern kind of market.
I've liked those. There was one when I was in Huntington Beach that I really liked. They had some different stuff, and I would just buy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just get so many different flavors, and and you're exposed to so much different, culture.
Yeah.
Even just just being there, the smells, the people. It's all.
Yeah.
It's a complete experience. Whereas it just kind of like, you miss out on that. You miss on the personal connection.
Yeah.
I love going to I go to LA still, and I get anytime I need suits, because I buy some stuff for the course and stuff like that. So anytime I need suits, I got this Iranian guy that I go to in LA. Every time he gives me like a new CD of like Iranian music.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, and it's like Iranian like pop kind of stuff.
Really?
And he's just the coolest guy in the world. And like you would miss out on that. Like if I bought online, because I could probably get a little bit cheaper online, but I still drive out to LA to meet with this guy.
People are already missing out on human experience with like how much they interact online over in person. But the kind of the way the business is now, and you can have things delivered, and it kind of destroys.
It just takes away from
local
all that.
economies. Yeah, I can see.
Which is really sad, and I think that's the worst part. Because it's not just about you saving a couple dollars buying online, but it's you're missing out on all these.
People they think it's all. They think about like living and maintaining and working and stuff. They think it's all about saving a buck. Which is
good. It's a good mentality.
Is a good thing, but
to a certain point.
But if you really, if you're the reason these prices are so low is because they're reaching outside of
someone's and it's harming them. I think I was reading another article that like Amazon went into and set up their one of these distributing factories, and they, because of competition and all that. And getting rid of kind of the competition in the area, they got rid of a lot of those competing companies, and then they were able to lower wages because these people couldn't go anywhere else.
Yes,
you know what I mean. And it's just like, so it does have.
People won't realize until the closer it gets to home. They won't realize until it's kind of too late.
Right. And I'm not saying socialism, because the government taking over these industries and then regulating is not the answer to that. No. The answer is us. We're our dollar, the power of our purse.
That is the greatest. The greatest way to see any type of probably change, if we wanted it now, would be to just literally change where we spend our money.
Right. Yeah.
We can't change
overnight. Yeah. Literally overnight.
Yeah, that would be the great. But people can't. They kind of choose convenience.
And in some areas, and for some people, it's understandable. There's just some people that can't. Right? They can't.
Yeah,
they
if they, they can't afford to.
They can't. They literally can't. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and they can't afford it. But there's still a lot of us that can affect that change.
Yeah.
And
but they're busy scrolling on the news feed, bro.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you. Let me just take a look here. I did. Oh, we won't spend too much time on this one. I did have a request from my wife. My first listener request. She wants to know, do you think, because she's a bit of a savage, she thinks people, like when people go to jail, rather than serve their sentence, some of them should just, crimes.
Oh, like capital punishment?
Yeah, she just
Like-
thinks get rid of him.
Wow, that's harsh.
She's super harsh, and she'll tell you. Yeah. How do you feel about that as far as I guess people serving? Because I mean, I feel like people like sexual like
Mhm.
predators and stuff.
Mhm.
Get
Off
rid
with their
of
heads.
them. Get rid of them. Just
Yeah.
not. And there might be some other crimes and stuff.
I think it just comes. I think it comes down to how you value life
yeah,
and how you wish that your life was kind of valued.
Mm-hmm.
And how you see things like pedophilia or other crimes,
Yeah.
like whether you see them as just pure evil or a result of something that happened to them. So it's all about perspective and all these things. You have to consider all the things that make someone that way, or there's just some people that are just flat out evil.
For those kind of things, I
You
don't
know what I
even. I mean, I get maybe some type of cycle, but I just she said, look at it. She says not some, all. See, super duper.
No,
savage.
yeah, I think it's one of those things where I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make that decision. Certainly, there are people that I'm sure deserve to die for the crimes that they have committed.
Yes,
I just don't know that I could be the one
you could
handing
live with
down
that.
that sentence. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a
The
Game
way-
of Thrones fan.
Yes, obviously.
When
The first season.
in the first season, he talks about swinging down the sword.
Yeah.
He who makes the call or whatever. I'm sure I'm butchering that line.
Yeah.
But is the one that swings the sword, right?
Yes,
It's not a call I can make, and so I don't know that I could swing that
gracefully
sword.
bow out of that.
Yeah,
you
I would
know what?
gracefully bow out, have someone else kind of. I'm not saying the capital punishment isn't necessary for some people.
Yeah.
I just don't know that I can make that call.
Well,
saying,
I like
hey,
that you have such an honest answer about it. I did have another question before I get it, because we're gonna.
Yeah.
What is it? I hate some of these judges that hand out light sentences for some of these crimes, these sexual type assault crimes. Like when I see that stuff, I just feel like some of like our legal system and the justice system, it's such a
it's a mess.
It's
a game.
It is a mess, but it's also just I feel like it's a reflection of some of the things that even though they say it's not acceptable, there's like, oh, it is acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Like you hear about some of these kids that are convicted of raping these women.
Yeah.
And then they get off like scot-free.
like a year or less probation, and then they just keep knocking it down and appealing, and they and I've seen some of the statements of some of the judges. I'm just like, oh, give him a chance. He's like, he's got his whole life. I'm just like, stop. I'm like, who are these people?
I don't understand.
What are these
Yeah.
types of things? These is like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That stuff makes
There
me.
are
It
certain
just makes
things that
me
you can be
really
like,
uncomfortable.
And again, it's perspective. There are certain things that a 14-year-old kid stole a Snickers bar from, and I've seen judges hand out some tough sentences for that.
Yes.
And it's like, whoa, like maybe that was going a little overboard. Maybe the sentence was justified because now in the long run, maybe it's going to. But let's face it, most of these people that go into the system come out worse because of the influences that they have inside there, and the demons that they're battling inside there. So, there's just not consistency, I think, in the way judges hand out sentences. These minimum sentence laws, I think, are backwards because I think sometimes the sentences are too severe for what the crimes are. That's why you have so many people in jail.
Yeah.
For petty crimes, victimless crimes.
Yes.
That I like to call them, and other stuff that like you would think like, oh, this is gonna be, oh, that guy's gonna serve like 50 years. It's like, oh, he got 2 years.
Yeah.
And he was in year for one of them, so we're just gonna give him another 6 months because he's been behaving good. So it's like, I don't know, man.
Strange.
It's
times.
it's a complete mess, and it's a whole game.
God. Okay. I do have 2 more questions for you. One of them is, what is your dream? I like to ask my.
Whoa.
Yeah. What are your dreams, man?
I think it's always changing.
It's always changing.
Yeah, I'm not a guy who's like who focuses on one thing and then does it until I've always got like a million things going on.
Yeah.
And I can never seem to focus on one of them, which sucks because I feel like I've accomplished very little from like when I was little and I had these kind of dreams.
You've accomplished things, bro. You've accomplished
but
things.
I don't know. I don't know there's one. I mean, for a long time, when I was in high school, I wanted to go on the road, and with my rock band and tour, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, that was the dream. And then for a long time, up until recently, the dream was to become a very successful, financially successful entrepreneur. And I just feel like it's always changing. Now it's just being kind of content
Mm-hmm.
in living a life that I think that overall is there's a net good that I provide to society. So
Okay.
yeah.
And I would follow up and say, if like sky's the limit, you could do what you want on a daily basis.
Yeah.
What would you want to be doing?
If I
on
could
a
just
day-
do whatever I
do
want to do
whatever
on a
you
daily
want,
basis.
daily basis. I'm doing what I want.
Wow.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm
on
in
the
my
daily?
workshop just doing stuff, you know, brewing beer or
Oh, okay.
cooking meats. And then this workshop is like out in like Patagonia or like the Canadian Rockies by like a river.
Wow.
And I'm just, you know, I'm there by
Wow.
myself and no one's bothering me. And
Wow.
yeah, but that's like a very selfish dream like that I have.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I got a
yeah,
dream.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
got like a big warehouse, like one of those big doors, and I
Uh-huh.
just hit the button and I pull my truck up,
Oof.
and it's like pulls in the like living room. It's like polished
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
concrete, like a
Do
big
they
couch.
have those right now?
Yeah, I've seen some things. Once we're in the proper position.
Yeah.
I want like open space, kind of minimal, little brutalist.
Oh yeah.
Just oh god.
Yeah,
I want to pull my truck into the living room. Like that's what I want. I want to hop out my truck, hop on the couch, get on my computer, you know, and just have my computer hooked up to whether it's HDMI cable to the TV, and then I can just
Right.
either watch my movies or surf the net or read or listen
Yeah.
to whatever. And
No, yeah,
you
no.
know.
I would be completely disconnected. I'd be off the grid.
yeah, it would be cool if you could get some type of, you know, environmentally friendly circulation of air and water and
Yeah.
grow some plants too.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely into that because we got like a little garden thing next to the
Oh, right. Yeah.
house. Like, so we use some of the herbs. I use the herbs from the garden all the time when I'm cooking, and sometimes I'll use some of the vegetables. Like I use some onions for some steak we had the other day.
See, I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah,
To like grow the food and like do all that.
yeah.
That's why if it was
The
me,
herbs are easy though. You just put the herbs in, they just
I would never use them. I mean, I buy
Really?
stuff. I'm like if I'm home by myself, and I'll buy something like, oh yeah, this week I'm gonna cook, you know, this or that. Half the stuff will rot away because I don't know how to use it or whatever. I'm a
Okay.
terrible cook.
Oh, so you are a terrible cook. You're a
Well,
barbecue.
you know what? I don't want to say I'm a terrible cook because I think when I try it, it turns out pretty good. I just don't have the patience for cooking.
Yeah.
I would rather just like do like singular things, like I'm cooking my meat, that's what I'm gonna do, or I'm gonna brew this beer, that's what I'm gonna do.
I live in this box.
But like this whole like my mom, she'll go out there and she'll have like 30 things like on the stove, and she's got a
Yeah.
meal, like a complete full rounded meal ready in like 30 minutes. She's like Rachel Ray.
Wow.
And I'm just like, how did you do that? And I can't balance all that at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have the patience for that. But I mean, good for you. Yeah. That's
Yeah, man. Yeah, get out there and
Yeah.
just get the man dream.
Boom.
Boom. You left me hanging there so long.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were doing something.
Oh,
you were
sorry.
pointing.
I was just like,
are you gonna point at
sorry.
something?
I was just trying to
And I
pound
was
to
like,
like
you see, I'm honestly,
so you're like Patagonia
like,
by the
contemplating.
river barbecue beer thing into my like
hey, take two.
my cave warehouse pull the truck in thing. I was trying to connect those and be like it's okay though, man. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up, brother. But
This was fun, man.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for
Hey, thanks for
coming
having
on
me. Yeah.
the Black Aaron Broadcast Show.
Thank you.
Episode 12.
Woo.
Pierre Calderon.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, my wife seems to think we should do recurring stuff, maybe like a different
Theme or something. Yeah. I'm always down to come back on.
Yeah, for sure.
I can talk for hours, you know.
Yeah,
so.
I know. That's why I knew you'd be a great guest to have on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's gonna be it,
Awesome.
folks. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play my little music. The music's gonna come on. I'm gonna peace out. Oh, that's right. And I have to say my thing, which my mom kind of reminded me that I need to do. Why is that thing right there? Oh, so it's stay blessed, don't stress, stay tuned
Boom.
to the Black Aaron broadcast every Thursday at about 10 o'clock. a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right.
Awesome.
Later, guys. Bring up my music here.
He's that funny young guy to talk to. Always seem to have a good talk. Always coming back around. Have a friend and half a. Come and chat and sit down with him. Have a drink and have a talk. Smoke a blunt, maybe it's whiskey. Think about the world at large. Cause Aaron Black sounds like Dave Chappelle. Sarah Black sounds like Dave Chappelle. Aaron Black sounds like Dave Chappelle. Sarah Black sounds like Dave Chappelle.